And welcome inside the Kyle Corner video blog. I am Jay Elsen, joined by Joe Van Goor. We are in Galesburg, Illinois, which is a town just about an hour away from Macomb, Illinois, where the University of South Dakota Coyotes are getting set to take on the Western Illinois Leathernecks on Saturday afternoon for a 3 o'clock kickoff at Hanson Field. And as I said, joining me, the voice of the Coyotes, Joe Van Goor. And Joe and I are going to cover three things with JVG, some of the pregame reads that we've come up heading into this football game and in terms of how the University of South Dakota is going to be successful against the Leathernecks, Joe. And I think the first point that we've got to bring up, you have to reestablish the offense. Coyotes struggled all day long in that department. Run game, pass game, didn't really matter. And if you're going to be successful, not only this week, but going forward, got to get something going on that side of the ball.
There's no doubt. 296 yards total offense, compared to over 300 for Youngstown State last week. Well, then that means you had a decent offensive day. Well, Coyotes had trouble stringing things together. Turnovers didn't help, for the fact that they had scoring chances early that didn't pan out as well, and that's why the offense struggled last week. Defense played great. Special teams was great. But the offense is, 8 or 9 times out of 10 going to put points on the board for you.
First and foremost, with that offense, this team is built around the running game, and that just didn't get going last week. Obviously, they want to set up the pass with the run. Trevor Bama dinged up an ankle a little bit last week. Sounds like he's going to go. Michael Frederick, they'd obviously like to see a little more out of him. Nate Gunn got some carries as that game wore on last week as well, but certainly getting that running game going in particular is going to help this team tomorrow.
Getting the running game going is going to open up the passing game. Youngstown State brought pressure all day on Ryan Sager, and he wasn't really able to get set and make throws, except for the longest play from scrimmage, a 63-yard pass to Michael Frederick. If Trevor Bama is ready to go, and I'm sure he is, with Mike Frederick, also Nate Gunn to complement him, and even Drew Potter in the running game can certainly help the Coyotes in that area. That'll loosen up that Western Illinois defense, who has an experienced defensive line, but their back seven is young, as kind of evidence last week. It was a track meet between Western Illinois and Southern Illinois in their Valley opener last week. Both teams, it was the team that had the ball last that won the game, and that was Western Illinois on a last-second field goal. I think this Coyote offense, certainly seeing, what they can do against Western Illinois' offense, has to give them confidence, and hopefully will give them confidence that they can score on Saturday.
Well, one way to build confidence, obviously put points on the board. One way to put points on the board, take care of the football. And the Coyotes, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, did not do that last week. They turned it over 3 times, led to 17 points for Youngstown State. But turnovers in this series with Western Illinois have really hurt USD. They've turned it over 6 times combined in the last 3 games against the Leathernecks. That's led to 24 points. Certainly, you don't want to give Western Illinois any extra breaks. They're already at home. You can't afford to put yourself in that kind of hole tomorrow.
You can't give Western Illinois' offense, led by Nico Watson in the running game, who we'll talk more about in a moment, and Trent Norvell in the passing game, with Lance Lenore and Joey Borsellino as well. Don't give them a short field. Western Illinois, I think, has either 29 or 30 points off turnovers so far this season. So they're even though they may be young in some areas, they're an opportunistic defense, and that's what the Coyotes have to guard against.
That is a key word there, opportunistic. All right, on the defensive side now, you mentioned it. They played pretty well, USD, last week. Very well, in fact. They had the odds stacked against them a lot of the day. Again, as we said, 17 points off turnovers. All 3 of those drives started at or inside the USD 15-yard line. So that's not really fair, but overall, you had a pretty good performance. You slowed down that running game against Youngstown State that had hurt you so bad in the previous 3 meetings, particularly last year's game with Martin Ruiz and Jody Webb. You defended the pass pretty well, aside from the one long pass play to Andrew Williams. Overall, good day, but you've got to build on that now. And one way to build on that against Western Illinois is to find a way to slow down Nico Watson. This guy's a heavy load coming out of that Leatherneck backfield, but he's had a huge couple of weeks, 330 yards and 4 touchdowns since he's been back in the lineup.
Sat out all of last year and missed the first 2 games of this year. Well, in 2 games, he has 330 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. His average carry per game over these last 2 games is pretty good. Find a way to slow him down, find a way to break through and to make contact with Nico Watson, not let him have a lot of yards after contact.
Are you going to stop him remains to be seen. Most likely not. Can you slow him down? Certainly you can. And I think the one important thing is you don't want to let him get a whole bunch of confidence. Let him really get rolling on you, because if he does that, Trenton Norvell, their quarterback, Lance Lenore's one of the top wide receivers in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. You mentioned Joey Borsellino's a pretty good weapon in the passing game for them as well. Those guys are only going to be better if Nico Watson has a big day.
That's right. And time of possession, how well, if Western Illinois keeps the Coyotes offense off the field, grinding up time, at times last week with Youngstown State, they had a definite edge in time of possession. Coyotes have to find a way to get off the field defensively and keep the ball themselves to keep it out of Western Illinois' hands. It's just that simple.
Absolutely. All right, that's another edition of Three Things with JVG. Again, the University of South Dakota getting set to take on Western Illinois at Hanson Field in Macomb, Illinois. 3 o'clock, the kickoff for that one. Joe will have the call for you on the radio, and I, of course, will be there as well all game long, providing you updates via Twitter. Follow me at Elsen, MidcoSN. All right, for Joe Van Goor, I'm Jay Elsen. Thanks for watching.